Hi everyone, so today I want to talk about these brushes from Ela Cosmetics, and I washed them so that I could talk about them. Before then I hadn't washed my brushes in a ridiculously long time. I actually have that many brushes that I can kind of last probably a month without washing my brushes. But anyway, they kindly sent me these brushes to try out and test out and let you guys know what they're like. Now, Ela Cosmetics is not a new brand to me. I have been a customer of theirs before. I purchased their sponges, I purchased a few of their individual brushes because I heard about them from Beauty News, and I love the idea of supporting local Australian businesses, which this one is. So Ela Cosmetics, if you haven't heard of them, they make synthetic brushes, they make wonderful sponges. I honestly love their sponges. They make a brush cleaner, and this is a new product of theirs. It's kind of like a cleaning mat, and also on the back they have this color switch type thing. I like a good massive color switch, so this is great. So I thought I'd run through each of these brushes, which ones I like, which ones I don't like, whether I think they're worth the money. And I also wanted to touch on the subject of synthetic hair versus natural hair brushes, because that is something that a lot of you have asked my stance on it, and I will let you know. Let's start off on that foot first. So whether or not you like natural hair versus synthetic will usually come down to two things. Firstly, your belief system. So some people are cruelty free. They don't believe in using animal products, animal byproducts to, use in their makeup. Is using products that have biodegradable materials in them important to you? Synthetic brushes are often made of nylon or other synthetic fibers. Essentially, it's plastic. So obviously this part is not biodegradable, or at least it will take, 500 years to decompose. So yeah, that is obviously somewhat of a concern. So when you are looking for synthetic brushes, my advice would be to find a really good sturdy brush that will last you a very long time. And I do think that these are very good quality brushes versus some of the ones I have tried before. And that's up to you to decide what your priorities are. And then secondly is your preferences and what you like. So some people, have very sensitive eyes, and they can't really use very harsh brushes, which natural hair brushes, they do have softer bristles, and that's just how it is. If you've ever felt a squirrel hair brush, they are very soft. And as far as my experience is concerned, I've never tried a synthetic hairbrush that is as soft as a squirrel hairbrush. It's just the nature of bristles. Obviously technology with, the synthetic man-made bristles are improving. So nowadays you find very soft, good quality synthetic brushes. And I can tell you that these are quite nice. They're very soft. They do feel well made. As far as I'm aware, all brushes, while some components of them may be biodegradable, none of them are actually recyclable. So that means that when you chuck it out, it stays in landfill. There's no recycling program as far as I'm aware. And honestly, I would love to see brush brands do that, because there are materials in here which certainly can be used for other things. There's metal for all, there's a wooden handle. Those things for sure can be reused, recycled, if brands do actually do that. So I would actually love to see that in future. For me, I actually like to have a mixture. I like natural hairbrushes and I like synthetic hairbrushes. And often on my channel, you'll see me use both because I like certain bristles for certain things. For my base, I mostly use synthetic hairbrushes because I use a lot of cream-based products. For powders and things, I like to use natural hair, just mostly because they're softer. So for me, before I even get onto the brushes, I'm going to talk about these sponges, because for me they're the hero product of Ela Cosmetics. They are very soft and they expand to a nice size. They also have kind of this flat edge and then a nice pointed tip, which the Beauty Blender doesn't have. So if you like to bake or whatever, I don't. This is good. It lays the product kind of flat in kind of crevices of your face, which I like. So when they first came out, I believe they were $20 a pack, but now they are $30. And even for $30, I think it's not too bad, because a beauty blender itself I think is $20 for one, something ridiculously expensive like that. I actually haven't bought a beauty blender in years, so I don't remember the price, but let's look it up. Okay, so in Australia, a beauty blender in Sephora is $30 for one. So for $30 you're getting two, which I think is so much better, half the price. So actually I think this sponge is actually leaps and bounds better than the beauty blender. So if you're looking for a good alternative to the beauty blender, definitely check out Ela Cosmetics sponges. They're fantastic. I've actually had these ones for ages and they've still lasted me. Obviously, sponges don't last as long as brushes. They say that you should be replacing your sponges every 3 months. I don't do that. I pretty much keep them for the life until they start to get holes, and then I chuck it out. Because I've never had any problems. I've never had any bacteria. I mean, I use these only on myself. So, you know, I think that rule is bendable. Okay, so let's talk about the brushes. There are 2 sets available, and you can also buy these brushes individually. The 2 sets are the Angel Falls brush set as well as the Icelight brush set. Let's talk about the Angel Falls set first. That brush set comes in the brush holder, which looks like this, and it comes with 15 brushes, although when I counted I've got 14. I think my son has taken one of my brushes and put it somewhere, so who knows where that is. I'm looking at the website now. It's $165. It comes with a mixture of face brushes and eye brushes. Let's go through the face brushes first. These ones here, 3 of them are dirty because I'm currently using them, and the rest I have washed. This is a massive powder brush. I actually don't have a brush this massive. This could even be used for the body. Why not, you know? It's very soft bristles, really feels very nice. But for me personally, this is not a brush I'd get a whole use out of. Then we have this one, which I will say as well, I would love it if they actually had numbered their brushes, because I do generally, when I'm doing tutorials, I like to put the name of the brush as I'm using it, and sometimes I don't remember, so I have to go to the website, check what the name is, and report back because they don't actually have the name here. So that would be great. I'd love it if Ela Cosmetics did actually put the name of the brush on there for the purposes of being a content creator. If you aren't, I mean, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we've got this one, which is a rounded kind of dense foundation brush. It's got a stray hair coming out of here. Oh, no. We have to cut this. There is kind of one stray random hair coming out of here. And I have used this brush before. It works really well. If you are aware of the Morphe M439 brush, it is somewhat similar, but this definitely has more give to it. It's more flexible, the bristles are softer. This is more dense. And for someone that does use more sheerer foundations, this is perfect because I actually get a good amount of coverage, because if I use a sponge, it absorbs way too much product. So this is definitely my preference. So I have been using this. This is definitely a brush that I will get a lot of use out of, and I have gotten a lot of use out of it. So I do like this one. Okay, next one, we've got this larger, like it's significantly smaller than this large powder brush, but it's this one here, and it is kind of a bit more fanned out. Obviously you can see the difference in the thickness of the brushes. This to me would be more my preference for a powder brush, just because I find this is a bit too big for me. And then you've also got a tapered version, which I like this. I like the tapered version because I feel like you can get kind of the powder under the eyes a little bit better. And of course, if I have any clips of me using these brushes, I will insert them here and there. I like kind of a tapered brush to get powder under the eye and into small areas. Okay, so we've got kind of like these 2 brushes here. I will put the names of these brushes on the screen because I, again, haven't got the names of them right in front of me. These 2 are tapered brushes. One is a little bit wider than the other, but I have been using this one for cream products, and it works really well to get a really nice blend. I've used it today to get the blend of my bronzer and my blush and my highlight. I just put it all on and then blend it out together, and this works really nicely. I tend to like brushes on the smaller side, but I mean, they're quite comparable. And then we've got this one, which is an angled powder brush. It does remind me of this MAC brush. This is the MAC 168. It's pretty much rubbed off, but it has been engraved. So similar, but obviously this one is taller. This one is not synthetic versus this one. If you're someone that doesn't like to have a lot of brushes, this is good because it's multi-purpose. I like putting kind of blush on this side and then bronzer on this side. So blush, so I could get a large surface area with that wider side, and on the pointy side, do my contour. Okay, then let's get on to the eye brushes, and this is, I think this is the E06 brush. It's massive. Now this is where I feel synthetic brushes fall a little bit short. I often see these kind of giant brushes, and to me, these aren't super functional. I do prefer a smaller, more tapered brush. I just find that I don't get precise enough application, and they're just too big for my eye shape. Because I have smaller eyes, I don't feel like this works great. I think maybe if you have a large eye, deep sockets, and you need something that kind of really goes in and packs everything on, then these might be better. But for me, I don't particularly like these shapes. A lot of the brushes in the synthetic market, I think that's where they fall short, is they're blending brushes. I don't find that their blending brushes are the best. These are 2 blending brushes, and then this is more of a larger shader brush. Then you've got this pencil brush here, which I do like. I like this kind of pencil brush for inner corner highlight. Also, if you wanted to add a bit of shadow into the outer V, this would be good too. And then you've got a kind of denser shader brush. This one would be best probably for maybe a cream shadow, or just to pack, you know, a metallic eyeshadow on. Again, for synthetics, I do like these kind of brushes. We've got a small pencil brush. You can use this for kind of like cream products as well, for a bit of concealer and then kind of pat it on. These kind of brushes are great for cream products, liquid products, and then I do love this kind of brush. I have purchased this before in the past from Ela Cosmetics, so now I have 2 of these, but I love them because I use them quite often. You can use it for winged eyeshadow, you can use these for your brows, and then obviously this to kind of brush out your brows, brush out excess mascara. This is probably the only dual-ended brush that I like. Generally speaking, I don't like brushes that have 2 ends, but this one I don't feel bad putting it into the brush holder like this. You don't tend to get anything on here anyway, so it's fine. So that's the Angel Falls set, and I do think it's a great option if you're kind of don't have many brushes, want to get into brushes, and need a variety of brushes. I love that it comes with a brush holder. I think the brush holder is very good quality as well, and actually you can take this traveling because you can put them all in here, and then it's got a clasp so they don't come out, and I think that is very clever. I can see myself taking this for traveling. Now in general, I will say when I first got into makeup, I would buy brush sets, definitely, because I wanted to kind of build my eyeshadow brush collection up so that I had a variety of brushes for different purposes. But now that I have so many, I no longer do that. I only buy individual brushes, which is why in the past, when I was purchasing from their website, I did buy individual brushes. I mean, it depends on what you are looking for. Obviously, it is more economical to buy as a brush set. I just did the maths on buying all the brushes individually versus a set, because sometimes some brands don't offer a discount, like Wayne Goss. If you buy the set versus individually, it's the same price, but you do actually save money. So I counted all them up. If you buy each of these brushes individually, it's $279 versus $165 for the whole set. So if you are looking for, you know, to buy a whole brush collection, then obviously it's the more economical route. But like I said, I tend not to buy brush sets anymore. I tend to buy individual brushes because I know what I like. And if you're in that position, they do offer each of these individually, which is great. So you can buy an individual brush rather than a brush set. Okay, let's talk about the Icelight brushes. They are the green brushes here. They come in a pouch like this, drawstring pouch, and there are 12 brushes in the set. These ones actually do have the name of the brushes on here, which is great. They do feel sturdy. Again, there are some duplicates from here and the Angel Falls collection. Okay, so let's talk about the brushes that are new to this set. E14, this is a synthetic shader brush. I think a synthetic shader for me is a staple because I use them for things like creamy formulas, metallic eyeshadows, foiled eyeshadows, things like that, that I find pick up better on a synthetic brush. They just kind of pack more of a punch because you can really get a lot onto the brush versus the natural hair brush. I do like a synthetic brush as well for adding liner. That is my preferred way of applying liner, is using a synthetic hair brush, although I do actually prefer an angled brush over the straight edge brush because I find that I can actually create that wing a lot more easily. But these are 2 great brushes as well. This is a teeny tiny kind of pencil brush. Again, this would be probably good for gel liner and just adding the liner on here on the upper lash line, as well as a lip brush as well. I mean, obviously you can kind of repurpose a brush to your needs. Just because it says it's an eye brush doesn't mean you have to use it on your eyes. I do find brushes like these work really well on the lips too. You've got a couple of blending brushes, larger ones, smaller ones. You've got some packing brushes, and you've got like a pencil brush. So I think that there is a good variety of shapes in here. So overall, for synthetic brushes, these are quite nice. They're definitely miles ahead of my Spectrum Collections brushes. They feel very plasticky, some of those brushes. These brushes feel very nice, very soft. It's just, for me, some of the shapes don't quite work for my purpose. You might be saying, why are you going on and on about the shapes? The shapes don't work for you. Most of the blending brushes are they're very rounded. This one as well is quite dense at the top. My personal preference for a blending brush is something that is a little bit shorter and rounded, but thin at at the edge. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is my kind of like perfect blending brush. While some of these are just, they're a little bit too big. But yeah, I do like them. And if you want to support an Aussie brand, if you're an Aussie yourself and want to support an Aussie brand, definitely go check them out. It really just depends on what kind of brushes you like for your needs. So for me, I do actually prefer the Angel Falls set over the eye set, just because I like that there's some face brushes in here, and because I use a lot of cream liquid products, I have been using these quite regularly, and I can tell you that these brushes are great for cream products. I will definitely be continuing to use them. Some of the eye brushes are just a bit too massive for my eye shape. I need a bit more precision. And then last two products we've got is the brush cleaner, which I used the other day. It's got coconut in it because I smell it. It smells like kind of toasted coconut. It smells quite nice actually. It works pretty well. I do have to kind of swirl them around for like foundation brushes, for example. I do have to swirl them around like maybe 3 times, 4 times to actually get all the product out. I use Johnson baby shampoo to wash my brushes usually, and I find that I have to do the same for that too. So I do think, I mean, this is just as effective. So this brush cleaner is $30, but you get 150 grams. I feel like that's a lot. I've used it on probably 50 brushes, 60 brushes the other day, and it hasn't really made too much of a dip. So I feel like this is gonna last you forever. This is gonna last a long time. And then they've got this cleaning mat, which is in the cute shape of a cloud. I have used a cleaning mat once before, and I imagine it would be better for my hands if I didn't use my hands and use this instead, so that my hands don't become shrivelly and like an old woman hand. I think my hands is definitely what gives away my age. But for me, I personally just don't use cleaning mats. But what I think is awesome and very, very clever is that they've got this massive color switch in here, which I have been loving, because I actually use the Vera Mona color switch, and it's tiny. It's really small, and it gets dirty very quickly. This is like triple the size. So I love it for this. This is great. It is $40. It's quite pricey, but I think they've sold out and they've just restocked, so it must be quite popular. If you're looking for a giant color switch, this is great. And if you use this kind of thing, you've got one here. So those are all the products that Ela Cosmetics sent me. Thank you so much to Ela Cosmetics for sending them my way. I really love, like I said, supporting local businesses, Aussie businesses, and I encourage you, if you are an Aussie, to do the same, because competition is good. We don't want to give all our money to Sephora and to these international companies when we could be supporting local businesses. So yeah, I hope you guys found this useful. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. If you've tried any of the products before, let me know what your thoughts on them are. Be really curious. I'm sure a lot of people have watched beauty news and probably be influenced by them. I did actually mention that I bought this because of beauty news. I've got a whole video on all the things that beauty news made me buy. Put that in the cards, you can check it out. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.